Something happens to women when they hit 40 that nobody wants to talk about. One day she's making breakfast for the kids, folding laundry, planning family vacations. The next day she's downloading dating apps, buying lingerie, and texting some guy from the gym. And you're standing there wondering what the hell just happened to your wife. Brother, if you think your steady, dependable wife is somehow immune to what's coming, you're living in a dangerous fantasy. There's a ticking time bomb in every woman's psychology, and it goes off somewhere between 35 and 45. Not might go off. Will go off. The only question is how much damage it does when it explodes. I know you felt this. That creeping unease when she starts talking about how young she looks, when she obsesses over every wrinkle, when she needs constant validation that she's still attractive. That's not vanity, brother. That's the warning alarm before the detonation. And fellas, what I'm about to tell you isn't comfortable. It's going to piss some people off, but it might save you from watching your family get destroyed by a crisis you never saw coming. Let me be crystal clear about the biology nobody discusses. A woman's entire sense of self-worth is built on a foundation of sand, her looks. From the moment she's born, society programs her with one message: your value equals your beauty. Be pretty, be désirable, be wanted. That's the programming that runs for 20 years, from 15 to 35, and for those 20 years, the system works perfectly. Men chase her. Compliments flow freely. She feels valuable because external validation confirms her programming. Then biology does what biology always does. It takes away what it gave. At 40, she looks in the mirror and sees a stranger. Not because she looks terrible, but because she looks different. The face that launched 1,000 ships now struggles to turn a single head. The body that made men stupid now gets polite smiles at best. And brother, this isn't about vanity. This is about identity collapse. Her entire sense of self was built on being desired. And now that desire is evaporating like morning dew. Everything she thought she was, everything she believed made her valuable, is disappearing right in front of her eyes. Think about it like this. Imagine you're a professional athlete. Your whole identity, your self-worth, everything is tied to your physical performance. Then age catches up. You're not terrible, but you're not what you were. You can't do what you used to do. Now multiply that psychological crisis by 10, and you'll understand what's happening in your wife's head when she realizes her beauty is fading. But here's where it gets dangerous. Instead of accepting this natural process, instead of gracefully transitioning into a new phase of life, modern women panic. They rage against reality. They declare war on time itself. And the first casualty in this war? Your marriage. Society tells you that midlife crisis is a man's problem. Guy turns 45, buys a Corvette, leaves his wife for a younger woman. We've all heard that story. But here's the reality nobody mentions. Women have midlife crises too, and theirs are far more destructive. When a man has a midlife crisis, he might make some stupid purchases. He might act foolish for a few months. But when a woman over 40 has her crisis, she doesn't just blow up her own life. She takes the entire family down with her. Research from universities studying divorce patterns shows that women initiate nearly 70% of divorces. And the peak age for women filing, 40 to 45. Right when that biological clock stops ticking for babies and starts screaming about aging, here's what society says. She's finding herself, discovering who she really is, breaking free from oppression. Here's what's actually happening. She's panicking because strange men stopped staring at her at the grocery store, and she'd rather destroy 20 years of marriage than accept that she's aging. Let me paint you the real picture. At 22, a compliment from a random guy is background noise. She rolls her eyes. Yeah, whatever. I know I'm hot. But when a 42-year-old woman gets that same compliment, her brain explodes with dopamine. Finally, proof she still got it. Validation that she's not invisible. That single compliment from a stranger becomes more valuable than 10 years of your devotion. Why? Because your devotion is obligated. You're married. You have kids together. What are you going to do? Not find your wife attractive, but that random guy at the coffee shop who smiles at her. That's pure validation. That's proof she's still in the game. And once she gets that first taste of outside validation, it's over. Not immediately, but inevitably. Because now she knows what she's been missing. Now she remembers what it felt like to be pursued, to be desired, to be someone's fantasy instead of someone's obligation. Here's the dirty secret nobody tells you. Married women over 40 are the easiest targets for seduction, not because they're bad people, but because they're starving for something you can't give them anymore. The thrill of being chosen by someone who doesn't have to choose them. Your attention doesn't count because you're locked in. You're the husband. You're supposed to find her attractive. That's your job. But some new guy showing interest? That's different. That's exciting. That's proof she can still compete with younger women. And brother, When that validation addiction kicks in, logic goes out the window. She stops thinking about consequences. She stops caring about the kids. She stops remembering the vows she made. All she can think about is how good it feels to be wanted again. How exciting it is to have options. How alive she feels when some man who doesn't know her flaws thinks she's special. Society calls this finding yourself. Reality calls it destroying your family for a dopamine hit. The worst part? She'll never admit what actually happened. She'll never say, "I destroyed our family because I'm terrified of aging. I needed strange men to want me more than I needed my children to have a stable home. My ego mattered more than my family." Instead, she'll create a narrative where she's the hero of her own story, breaking free from oppression, living her truth, finding herself, and society will applaud her bravery while your kids cry themselves to sleep in 2 different houses. Let me get real personal for a second, because I've seen this pattern destroy good men. The woman who swore she'd love you forever meant it when she said it. But that woman was 25, full of hormones, getting attention from everywhere, feeling invincible. The 40-year-old woman wearing her skin is a different person entirely, different brain chemistry, différentes priorités, different fears. The woman you married doesn't exist anymore. She was replaced by someone who looks similar but thinks completely differently. You represent everything she's trying to escape. Aging, predictability, mortality. Your very presence reminds her that her youth is gone, her options are limited, her story is mostly written, so she panics. And in that panic, she'll make decisions that destroy everything you built together. Not because she hates you, not because you did anything wrong, but because you remind her of the one thing she can't accept. Time passes and beauty fades. Here's what you need to understand about this crisis. When it hits, there's nothing you can do to prevent it. You can't love her through it. You can't reason with her about it. You can't therapy your way out of it. Because you're not dealing with a relationship problem. You're dealing with an existential crisis. And in that crisis, being a good husband doesn't matter. Being a good father doesn't matter. 20 years of building a life together doesn't matter. All that matters is that she feels young again, that she feels desired again, that she can prove to herself she's still got it. The brutal truth is this: modern women weren't built for long-term relationships. They were programmed for attention, validation, and novelty. They were taught to chase feelings instead of building foundations. They were trained to see commitment as oppression and excitement as enlightenment. And when the excitement of marriage dies, which it always does, they panic and run. This isn't all women. There are women who understand that beauty fades but character endures, who know that excitement is temporary but building something is permanent, who realize that being chosen once and kept forever is worth more than being chosen repeatedly and discarded. But these women are increasingly rare, because everything in modern culture tells women to be the other type. So what's a man to do? Here's your protection protocol, and I'm being deadly serious about every step. Step 1. Recognize the signs early, before she hits 40. If your woman's entire identity revolves around her looks, if she lives for male attention, if she can't handle a single gray hair without a meltdown, you're in danger. Watch for the obsession with youth, the nostalgia for her 20s, the sudden need for constant validation. Step 2. Understand that her crisis isn't your failure. You could have been perfect, and she still would have left. You could have been terrible, and she might have stayed. Her decision has nothing to do with your quality as a husband, and everything to do with her inability to accept reality. You can't fix someone's relationship with time. Step 3. Document everything if you see the warning signs escalating. Dates, conversations, behavior changes, financial movements. Not to use in court. Most judges don't care, but to protect yourself from being gaslit into thinking you're crazy. When she rewrites history to make you the villain, you'll need proof of what actually happened. Step 4. Protect your assets immediately when the panic behaviors start. Separate bank accounts quietly. Move retirement funds into protected accounts. Secure important documents. Because when a woman over 40 decides to blow up her life, she'll take half of everything with her and leave you with the bills. Step 5. Prepare for war, not reconciliation. When a woman in this state decides to leave, there's no reasoning with her. She's not leaving because of problems that can be fixed. She's leaving because staying reminds her she's aging. Get a lawyer before she does. Know your rights before she files. Protect your relationship with your kids before she poisons them against you. Step 6. Accept that the woman you married is gone. Stop trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Stop hoping she'll wake up and realize what she's throwing away. The biological and psychological forces driving her behavior are stronger than logic, stronger than love, stronger than 20 years of history. Let her go and focus on protecting yourself and your children from the fallout. Nobody's going to tell you this truth because it's too uncomfortable. Nobody's going to warn you that the woman sleeping next to you might detonate at 40 and take your whole life with her. But I'm telling you now, the statistics don't lie. Women initiate 70% of divorces. The peak age is 40 to 45. Over 30% of marriages become sexless around this same age. These aren't coincidences, brother. This is a pattern. And you're not immune just because your wife seems happy right now. You're not protected just because you've been married for 15 years. You're not safe just because you're a good husband and father. When that biological clock stops ticking for babies and starts screaming about mortality, when the compliments from strangers dry up, when she realizes younger women are getting the attention she used to get, all bets are off. She'll look at you and see everything she's lost. Youth, options, freedom, excitement. And she'll decide that destroying the family is worth it if it means feeling alive again. That's the reality nobody wants to face. Women over 40 don't just leave, they destroy. Not because they're evil, but because they're terrified. Terrified of aging, terrified of invisibility, terrified of being ordinary. And in their terror, they'll sacrifice everything and everyone to feel special one more time. You can't stop this by being a better husband. You can't prevent this by making more money. You can't avoid this by being more romantic. If she's the type whose identity is built on male attention and external validation, this crash is inevitable. All you can do is recognize the signs early, protect yourself when they appear, and minimize the damage when it explodes. Don't say you weren't warned.